no concept of time.
Now I was talking about the rebrand.
Oh yeah.
The letting go changes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of goes in and out of clubs. So I did click the live button, but like I'm just throwing this on stage. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, hello everyone. This is the card table. Rashad, Gina, Grisha, run with the season. It's guided by the cards, and we're just talking about Gina's rebrand that's coming up. It's Nana Clubs week. And I think Nans is changes, letting things go. The Jack of Hearts has it in Mercury, so it's kind of dear to your heart, I guess. So,
And too, I don't want to go into it too much, but I'm excited. So we'll go there. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy that it's something that matches you and it gives you all the juice to grow more Gina.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good change. It's a good fit, to be honest, and I'm excited for it. So I am. And it feels good. Like I'm not. Oh no, is it good? You know what I mean? I'm not worried. I'm not stressed about it. It actually it sits well. So I like that. I like how it feels, and I'm a big about how does it feel. So.
Yeah, I mean, just in knowing you in the parts, like not necessarily even knowing what's going on, your energy and your ease and your comfort in yourself has been more evident and more transparent in my interactions with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that to me tells like she's where she needs to go. Like she's on point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's, bringing it back to the cards. The cards have guided me in doing it, the way they aligned when, I'm really tuned into like the day, my card, that certain things was playing out. And so that gives you that confirmation, like this shit's supposed to be, it's on point. So that helps you not resist it. It helps you to really trust it and have that faith in it, that it is actually working for you, not against you. And it is okay to let go, to be, move on. Because it doesn't mean to say that if I was to stay, that wouldn't work, because it's going to work whether I make it work or not. Right. So, but I feel like this is more aligned and with what I want to do and where I want to go with it. So I'm excited.
We have a special guest. I'm sorry, we had to bring in a special guest. I'm sorry.
Yay! Thanks, Rashad.
Adam.
Who's our special guest?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you. Turn your video on.
Rashad, you're pretty dark. Are you going for the club scene today?
Actually, I can't.
I mean, if you're going for the club scene, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just telling you, you got that vibe going on, like you're still in the club. Nick's going to be like, Rashad was in the club talking to y'all.
It does look like that, huh? I literally got up at like 9 o'clock in 9 o'clock's fashion, pretty like last minute.
They're always late. I don't know what y'all. 9 clubs are always late. They have no concept of time. They're like, what time is it? Who cares? I'll be there when I be there. And when I come, you'll know, right? Like, I'm here.
We call it like the 9/11 card too. It's like the concept of time and then the Matrix.
So welcome, Adam. We've been meeting on these Thursdays, and it might be a little early. It might mean that we should go to a later time, but we're definitely enjoying the meeting. And we just started talking about some of the magical ways things are unfolding in Gina's rebranding for her product, and just the different ways that things are just kind of happening, that we feel more affirmed. And we welcome you in to the Nana Clubs week. And hi, Adam.
Thanks for having me. This is I mean, the morning is like, I'm not really a morning person. I'm more of a, but this is a nice way to start the day. So
yeah, a little later, right? Like 10 or 11, maybe we'll see what happens.
So the 90 clubs a week.
You made a choice. Now Adam made a choice to be a 10 of clubs and not a 9 of clubs. Right? If I remember first meeting you, there was this like, a 9 of clubs or a 10 of clubs. So
well, I was coming from the Cards of Truth system, which it's all based on the sunrise and sunset. So it's kind of using Vedic principles, and it also relates to Hellenistic and Babylonian astrology, where they use the sun as an indicator of, like, the chart, basically, the daytime chart versus the nighttime chart. So my card in that system is a 10 of clubs because I'm born right after midnight. And so when I found Diamond and I studied Cardology, it's all based off of, like, after midnight. As soon as you hit 1201, you're a different card. So I was looking at my progressions and my annual charts and was trying to compare which one I connect the most. And it wasn't until actually that year, when I was on the King of Diamonds year, that actually resonated more with me, because really ambitious. Can you hear me?
You kind of went in and
It
out.
was going in and out.
I resonated more because I was more working on my just busy working. So versus the other one was the Six of Spades, and the Six of Spades to me is really about taking care of the body, really being more mindful about the body, and I was not really in that kind of headspace. I was more about wanting to make more money and just being more ambitious. So that resonated with me. And then I looked back at some years that were challenging to me, and those spreads that were the 10 of clubs, that's what I resonated more with. So it wasn't that I wanted to be the 10 of clubs. It's just kind of like the cards that I saw in that year basically reflected what was happening with me. So,
well, I want to ask some more questions about when you lived as a possible 9 of clubs. Because I know that when I was Madeline McCann, that was one vibration. That's my maiden name, Maddie McCann. And then I'm Madeline Bernarducci. And that had a different energy, right? And now I'm Madeline Thompson. And even though I stayed me, being those different energies seemingly affected me. Like, I can see different versions based on the name I was, you know what I mean? And so I learned through numerology that my name actually was affecting me that way. So out of curiosity, were you a lot more anything when you were more 9 of clubs in your brain?
well, the themes, we all connect with themes, with the boundaries, right? I mean, the lack of boundaries, the issues with your values, and so we all kind of carry the same life themes, same lessons, right? So for me, when I related more to the Neptune card, because when I'm in a rut, I tend to put more focus on being busy, which is the 5 of clubs. So that's how I generally like to manage stress, is just by putting more energy into work. With the 2 of diamonds, I can see that being able to not really see, people in a maybe clear perspective. And also this urge to want to connect to people. So I see that, but the 7 of hearts, the cosmic lesson, is generally, that's what I really resonate more with, is the themes of my life and the lessons that I've had to learn. That's really more what I connect with. And I think, yeah. What are you all folks? Do you know the time you were born? Or you?
I do. I can see how, because I remember we were in a room and you were going over how that system works. And I was like, wow, I could see that too. And now that I've kind of dived in more into the astrology side of things and the Vedic, and I can see how you can blend it all. I can see how when you really look at this, I'm like, yeah, because even being, a Leo sun, I've never resonated with a lot of the Leo sun characteristics. I've always felt more like I'm more emotional. I'm way too more emotional. And so I was like, that makes more Cancerian vibes. And then in Vedic, I have instead of a Leo stellium, I have a Cancer stellium. I'm like, well, duh, that makes so much more sense to me. But I can also see in how certain things I am very Leo about, you know what I mean? Like, I'm bougie about my food. I may not like to shop in like handbags and shoes, but I will not eat shit
Wait a
food.
minute.
Like,
That might be because you're a Queen of Hearts. That might be because you're really a Queen of Hearts. Because I can tell you, in my house, the Queen of Hearts hair products and clothes and food.
it's not even clothes. I am the least I could give a shit about clothes. It's what I put into my body, what I put onto my body. Though I'm real bougie about that. I'm real about that. I'm not moving on that. Like, you're not going to convince me that that's good. No, it's not going to work. So I can see where in certain aspects I'm this, and in certain aspects I'm that. And even just from Placidus and Whole Sign, just seeing where my North Node falls in 2 different houses in between two different systems, which is similar to the system of the Cards of Truth. So I think there's not one that's better. I think you can pull from all and really be able to make them all work for you, because you really are all this shit. So,
Yeah. The energies, they kind of blend, right?
Yes.
It's like we try to put labels and figure out this is who I am, but the energies in the end all blend. I just, for me, like to look at my problem areas that are challenging. What are my issues? What am I missing as far as like looking at myself, that I'm not being able to see myself in certain ways. So the Saturn cards and the Neptune cards are kind of how I connect more with the card, with my birth card. So the other stuff, the Moon card and the Mercury and Venus, that I can connect with it also. But it's the Saturn and the Neptune cards that I see. Those are my challenges that I resonate with. So.
And you know what doesn't change? Your North Node and your South Node. So I think those are your two.
Yeah, that too.
Right? Though, and I feel like all the systems are a blend of your South and your North, and trying to find that balance between the two. You can't be one dominant and the other, because then you're out of. You need both of them. So I think that also is a big aspect of learning. I don't care what system you use, or knowing your challenging karma card or your karma card or your Pluto card, depending on what system you're using, it's all a challenge. It's all meant to grow you and evolve you and have you progress. So if you don't know anything about these sciences, learn those. Learn your North Node, learn your South Node, your Rahu, your Ketu, whatever system you're operating in. Those are probably the most important points of your path. So I think understand them both, not one more than the other, because they're both very, a part of you.
Absolutely.
So yesterday I had card magic happen, and I went to the farm, and I went and got water for the prayer, and brought my dog. So I was having like a Wednesday in the woods. It's always Wednesday in the woods forever. That's like one of the Madeline mantras. And so I had 2 people that know me well ask me to see people in their lives, and I have a waiting list right now. I can't see anybody, right? But when people who ask me of my friends, I had 7 of hearts, both 7 of hearts, right? I had 2 7 of hearts, like the day and the 52. So I say yes, and I say that I will see them, even though I'm at my capacity, at the farm, if they work with me at the farm. Because then I'm working at the farm and I'm talking to somebody and I get to be outside, But it's also, I usually do some pretty good stuff in the woods with people. Lo and behold, they come. It's a boy and a girl, and they're both Ace of Diamonds. My transformation card. And they're both having stories about 1 foot in, 1 foot out, which is what we keep talking about. That whole way that it's like both feet in and grow to win. Like, like you cannot be like, I want to be independent, but I want to be with somebody. So I'm codependent, but I'm like this. Like everybody's story was that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I felt like the cards were trolling me.
And you say you feel like the cards are trolling you as far as in which way?
Well, I guess it's that real strong desire to stay independent, like being in the world, but not of it. You know what I mean? But also putting both feet in, and saying like, yeah, I was a boy, I was a girl, where are they? This is that. I'm in. Like, I don't want to fight about it. I just want to be authentic and say what's true for me, and allow you to do the same and like move beautifully. Like everyone's allowed to be true. You just don't have to do any under the table kind of messing with people anymore, because that makes people have one foot in and one foot out. You know, one person was creating that in herself because she wasn't telling the whole truth. And the other one was giving up so much that he couldn't even find himself in the stuff. You know what I mean? So it's the same things that we see in business, in family. It's the reason there was a mob, for God's sakes.
Mhm.
You know, it's the whole thing. So I just saw it all, and I was just like, oh my God, look at this. So I did ground prayer with one of them and helped my nervous system reset to the earth so that I could get smarter too, and prayed for her to do the same. And the other one, I prayed into his water with the water I just got, and I helped it say, activate the wisdom in me that can make me holy again, like our spirits in our water. So, you know, the nice thing about when people send people to me, they know who they're sending it to, and they know I can do whatever I do. And they're like, go where she goes. It's going to be fun. She'll blow your mind, but let's go. So, like, I don't have to be all like, okay, so do you know about this? And is this something that you're open to? I'm like, okay, you ready? You want to talk to the elements? You want to find out how they work with your body? Let's go.
I
So,
love that. I
but
want to be where you're at right now, out in nature. It looks really peaceful and tranquil there.
yeah, and I'm making the end of my prayer time. So check this other thing out. I'm sorry to be a babbler, but this is an interesting thing too. We make prayer ties, right? And they're usually in a certain row. Like first it's your yellow, which is the east, and then it's the north, which is the white. And then the red this time, which is normally the water, they made that the earth, and they made blue the water. And this has been the fire for every one of my 6 years. For 6 years, every time I tied a blue one, I was tying fire. Now I'm tying a blue one for my soul's water. So I had to get my water first to do it, to make sure I had the prayer in line. And I'm not even sure what to say other than I just want to go all the way in, and I want my soul to be in my body as much as possible, and to use our waters in a way that I'm not taking people hostage and no lie.
Saturn and Pisces, water.
Yeah, and that's where my Saturn return is.
Mhm.
So, card troll.
And speaking of water, we, you know, I'm down here in Florida, and there's already a possible hurricane or tropical storm forming, right? And it's the first day of hurricane season. June 1st is. So I think we're going to see a lot more water, you know, just in general. Things underwater, things being flooded, things, you know, just a heavier sense of water. It's a cleanse, you know.
Where in Florida are you?
I'm in Central Florida, right outside of Orlando. So, yep. But I grew up in South Florida, so this is, you know, normal stuff. And when I was a kid, they were fun. They're not so fun now that I'm an adult.
Yeah. I saw Fort Myers was completely.
Yeah, that was stressful
the
last year
whole-
because my manufacturer is in Fort Myers, so I was a
Oh.
little wrecked about that. But they were fine. They were inland enough that it didn't, you know, they were out of power for weeks, but they're you know, structurally and be able to operate was still good. But yeah, so Saturn in Pisces and Saturn retrogrades here in the next like week or so, and
Yeah.
Pluto retrogrades is going back into Capricorn, so it's gonna be fun. Fun
That's
time.
going to be interesting, that Saturn retrograde.
Yes.
Because this is what Saturn and Pisces is the groups connecting together over through spirituality, you know, finding practical ways to connect and develop our own intuition. And the retrograde is just giving us more of a double take, kind of more emphasis on ways to improve it. So, yeah, the retrogrades, I find they're more, you know, more internalized, really wanting to individuate and really bring projects, you know, manifest them, you know, bring them to light and that sort of thing. So that's interesting with Saturn and Pisces, because Saturn and Pisces is generally wanting to connect, and then with the retrograde, it's kind of like giving a pause on that, or maybe having more energy to take it to the next level too. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I have a natural retrograde, and it's not fun at all. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But by
It is-
progression, it went to right.
And your
You're such a
and your
downer.
Saturn is the Jack of Hearts at that too. So
Yeah, no, for me personally, it just adds like kind of like the Mercury retrograde adds like if you the first time around it may not happen or it may not be as what you think it is as successful, like it's kind of like a attention to details trying it the second time, it's but for example, I've been working with, like, I probably had, I want to say every job twice, but in a sense, like working with kids, like I stopped working with kids and went into like marketing. Then I stopped that. Then went into marketing, like for charter. I went from marketing homes to marketing with charter. My first job out of college was actually at a daycare. Now I'm back at a school again. So it's like the second time is the charm, I guess. But
Carly McCord says about Gemini, she says that it's like you do it twice because that's how you get better at it. Like, if you're in the Gemini, you're always doing it at least twice, because you have to like revise it. So I've learned to enjoy that.
No, you're right. That's funny. Kendrick Lamar, he's a rapper, but he's in the song he said, "I'm a Gemini, so I'm gonna buy everything 2 times." Right? So no, you're exactly right on that. And speaking of like that Jupiter passing, you were talking about, you feel like the universe is where the cards has this thing for you, coming for you. But yeah, Ace of Diamonds sits Saturn. I'm not Saturn, but Jupiter. Or that Jupiter Neptune as well. I also call that like the water bearer in certain instances also. So it has kind of like those concepts, I think. And I was just reading around, like, just the Neptune energy and Saturn energy. It can be kind of heavy. It makes you pay attention to things. It's like really physically, I wouldn't say physically enabling, but like you say, you got to ground yourself, like the concept of like water and earth, those two particular modalities coming together. So, yeah, I can definitely feel like it's talking to you in some type of way.
I don't know. I'm going to have fun. And the best part of going to something like this when you're a character like me is I do best in big places like that because I'm reading the frequency, I'm reading the energy, and it becomes collective. So it gets loud. It's not like I got to listen anymore so hard. It's like everyone starts to collect around certain themes, and it's so rich. It's such healing waters because everyone starts giggling and rhyming and playing together. The girls get so silly because everybody feels so safe because you're just all like doing your thing.
Yeah, and that's so interesting. You have 2 Ace of Diamonds because that's very much because they're all about that Neptune energy, wanting to have that kind of connection to the divine.
And a teenage girl reached out who's an Ace of Diamonds too, all in that day. I was
wow. What day was it though? What day was it?
Yesterday.
And yesterday was the Ace of Clubs day.
I was in Ace Land. I was like, who am I when I'm not one? I'm hearing Lewis like, you look in the mirror and you see somebody.
I live in Ace Land, actually. Both my daughters are in Ace. My father, who I will see tonight, is in town for the weekend. He's an Ace of Diamonds, so I can't escape the Ace.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And talking about secrecy too, they have a thing with secrecy also. I've seen, they have, like you said, vertically, especially, it wouldn't be in this spread, but the 2 of Hearts and the Ace of Clubs is in tandem, and then you have the Ace of Spades. So yeah, they have those really strong like ace concepts, and women play a really major role in their life as well. I feel like they usually do get initiated. They usually do need like some type of therapy in some type of sense. I wouldn't say that they all just need therapy, but gravitating to those things, even if they're in like to medical field, like Jupiter, the Pisces, Neptune also deals like with the brain as well. So a lot of times they may even look for like mentors or psychics or those particular things that they may just run across. I feel like sometimes you can't control those things. We have like a strong Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Spades, like they just may come to you.
So what also I noticed is this is my second Saturn return. During my first Saturn return, I met who is still one of my best friends, who's an Ace of Diamonds. And we took a class together in, I don't know, in the county college back in the day. And like this minute we met, I was like, what's with this guy? And I had no idea about the cards. I knew nothing about it. And there was such a kindredness. And I did, in fact, become like a mentor and somebody. Like, he had some drug issues, and I basically decided he wasn't going to die. Do you know what I mean? On my watch, you know what I mean? And so he decided eventually not to die too. So that was a win. But it was definitely like a decision that I made. And he was like, "Why are you here, lady?" I was like, "You're going to live." And I was like, "Oh, God." So, that became a project of mine. So, but he opened me up in so many ways to his that underside of people. Like, he was so Piscean, he could get underneath stuff. He knew what to say. He could tease at you, poke at you, reveal you. He had his own magician stuff, but he was sneaky as fuck. And I really struggled with that. And that's what eventually changed. Like, he's still like that probably in his life, but I don't believe he's like that with me. But we're not in any kind of contracts where I'm counting on him for anything. So it doesn't matter if he tells me what he's doing with so-and-so and this and that, or if he's stealing from who, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But that to me is part of what goes into these prayers. It's like, I don't want to be a host for lies. I don't want to be in a vibration that doesn't tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. There's no fun. There's no winning there. It's only
You're not helping them either. You're just enabling
Yeah.
them. So.
The Jack of Spades is wearing you, Croatia. It's the
This is my Jupiter.
The Jack of Spades. So yeah, you have to be honest. The more you're honest, because that's really a reflection too when you think of it, because it can be anybody at once.
Yeah.
So it, and the more you operate from that higher place, you really can alter your path, and it is a truth, like a truth serum at its highest.
Yeah, some of my friends don't call me because they said I can't take the truth. I can't even talk to you. I need time. I'm not ready. I get it. And then I'll start to make a little joke after a week or two, like, nope, still not ready. Back off. I'm like, all right. So, but sometimes I, am impatient. But that's my last of these prayers, is to really be patient and trust the process. Like, if anything, the 9 of clubs and these cards has taught me is that it does happen naturally and divinely, and to stay patient, but to keep good boundaries over what makes me feel sacred and holy, and put both feet in. Like, don't be afraid. Because like Adam said, like, it's going to work out. Like, when I happened with the shingles, it's like, be peaceful, be relaxed. Life's unfolding perfectly, and all's well in my world. And just stay there.
Yeah.
And speaking of like that Saturn, Pisces, all those particular concepts of truth, I feel like it's coming out as well. But in the revealing of the truth, and being concrete about what's taking place within your reality, being honest and upfront, even within doubt or fear, because from those particular placements, there's doubt and fear. I think that comes with the jacks maybe as well. Getting a sense of immaturity, responsibility around your life and your life choices, even when you may not be as confident, or not knowing where you're going. So as far as the Ace of Diamonds in relationships, and even the Ace of Spades, having, I think, sometimes a little bit of fear or doubt can come from those Neptune positions. But in spirituality, and the Jack of Spades being the initiate, is to open your eyes, I think, to the things that you may not be able to see, you may not be able to understand. And I think they become wizards a lot of times, maybe from sitting in that Neptune position. I have the Ace of Spades there. So, and I'm a Gemini. So that is my ruler. So coming from that sense, sometimes I have to look at and when I may be doubtful or fearful, and my journey coming to the Jack of Spades has been eye-opening. I feel like those are things you don't ask for sometimes. It just happens, like initiation. You do ask for it. Let me not say that. Kind of like you said, the cards and these energies, they play with you. It just
I was
We
your
do.
cosmic lesson. I think there was a certain connection to me, to you, because I was your cosmic lesson, and I came into the room like a whole different version of what the room was about and stuff.
Yeah, totally. I was like looking, like trying to understand this character. Like, what is she speaking of? I feel it, I resonate with it, but what is it? What is this so mysterious? So you definitely have to indulge and dive into the mystery, right? But how do y'all feel about, like, I guess the cards working and going through those ace of spades, those when Gina doesn't move, so it's kind of unfated, right?
Yeah, the ace of spades, I have that as my reward this year. So it's I don't have any anxiety. It's more, I look at it more as a new perspective on it, or a new insight on myself and how what I have to learn. So, and also new beginning. So I feel like these are, when I look at that ace of spades, it's really a card of reflection and really the self journey, really understanding yourself from another perspective or a new beginning. So, I mean, you really, I think, and also deep perspective too. So really getting to the root of an issue. So and it is, I have to say, it is coming. I am learning that this year with relationships, and that I have a different perspective on relationships and not having expectations or projections on it. So that ace of spades is definitely very insightful, I'd have to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you mind asking? Do you mind me asking how old are you?
42.
Oh, okay. You're right there with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be 44 at the end of July, so I'm about to hit the spirit spread, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all do not look 42 at all.
It's the water in the belly.
It's the magnesium for me.
Yeah.
And thank you, Gina. My friend did get the magnesium rub.
Oh, good.
So we just had the conversation. She has to try it out. You know, some people get cold feet, like, oh no, you know.
Oh no, she should rub that all over her body. She'll regret she didn't do it sooner.
Yeah. Especially in the I'm not good with birth, but this last trimester, is that what it's referred as? Okay.
Yeah, she's in her third. You said the third try. She's almost due, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll definitely help.
And not even say, Gina, you don't move, because you do have the cards. I think they come to you. So the ace of spades definitely came to you.
Sure did. And I joke, but I've said since the beginning, before I even knew anything about these cards, my ace of spades transformed my life. I've told it to her many times, like, you saved me in a sense, because prior to me being pregnant with her, I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, and so she transformed my health. I had to create an environment for healthy that was for her to grow in, right? And the things I was doing prior to me getting pregnant were not healthy. So, she very much did transform my health. She's why I went back to school. So many things, that she did for me to make me see myself. Ace of spades is a very, strong reflection. And so I'm grateful. And then, 8.5 years later, I had an ace of clubs. So, and she changed my life too. She's how the whole magnesium journey started for me too. So, and if you go to my age, when I found out I was pregnant, the ace of spades was my transformation card, which is crazy. So, yep. I was transforming into the ace of spades when I got pregnant with my daughter.
Isn't that so cool that that's what's happening for us? Because I have the same story of how my two sons were born, right before. Yeah, they were both born in my last 52 days before my birthday, and they were both in my spread, so like, it's pretty magical how that stuff happens. And I just keep thinking about, it keeps coming up in the theme. It's like, we all living through the same lessons, but on different paths. and everybody's just coming in as the teacher they are. So when you can accept the student or the teacher role and whatever the dynamic is, and really it's just soul to soul, get true and see what happens to both of you. There's no like formula other than that, but it's just really interesting because our kids, they wake us up to like, where are you? You're asleep. Like, what are you doing?
That's true.
More importantly, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why can't we get, you know what I mean? Like,
Gina,
I'm being honest.
This is self-reflection. It's definitely a mirror, I think.
Yeah.
Even just the aces in itself, if you have those particular cards, you're going to get that self-reflection. You're going to get that mirror. And I think the ace of spades with the seven of hearts, I always call the sevens like mirrors, dealing like with the facts and the truths. You know, it's funny. I was just telling someone the other day, yesterday. I think they had a seven of spades, and they just kept talking about the truth. Like they just kept saying that. I was like, you know, that's like my word for like the seven of spades. Right? So yeah, it's always like someone putting a mirror in your face. But yeah, gaining or learning something about yourself, you know, you just can't run from it. And the ace of spades is where for you, Mercury. I mean, then what for you? Mercury, Venus, Jupiter.
I'm their Jupiter card. Yeah,
their Jupiter.
Mm-hmm. So they do have this, you know, they come as this very strong, hardcore energy, but deep down, they're just big babies. They really are.
So much.
They really, really are. And if you can get them to tap into that, they really, you know, because it is a very strong energy of self, right? But then you have the Jack of Hearts as your Jupiter card, you know, so they tend to play a victim. They tend to, you know, be, you know, I did this for you or did that, you know, no. And I've had to teach her, like, you know, when it comes to, it's okay to, you know, feel, but don't get stuck there too, because that's another thing I've learned with her. She'll get stuck, and it's like, no, because you really literally represent transformation, you know. So you have to kind of rise to a higher place because you're going higher. She's ruled by the 9, so even more, you know, of that letting go, you know, and realizing it is just a cycle. It is just a, you know, something better is coming if you can unstick yourself from what you thought it should have been. And I've literally witnessed it with her.
Expectations.
Well, that's exactly what the Ace of Diamonds that my good friend is like. What a little, I mean, I had to call him out. I mean, I was just so like, you are ridiculous. You're like a little baby. What did your mother do to you? What the hell is the problem? You know, I had 8 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, son. So I was just like, what is your problem, young man?
They have 9s too. They both of those cards will have 9s in prominent position. I was reading about the Ace of Diamonds and the 9 of Hearts as well. That may give them. That's probably why they're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? They have the 5 of Hearts and then have the 9 of Hearts, you know. And then the Ace of Spades has the 9 of Clubs, 9 of Spades. And which one is your daughter ruled by?
She's ruled by her 9 of Clubs. 9 of
Clubs.
She's a Capricorn, so that's their Saturn. Yeah, the 9 of Clubs.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a tough one. I'm sorry, not just saying that.
Rashad, you're so funny.
No, but you know what it does?
Like, oh,
it validates my experience. It validates my experiences, so it's okay. It's a tough one, Chad.
Yeah, I find them to be very, very strong people. Very, they are not really. They don't really bend to peer pressure. They really know. They have this kind of inner understanding of themselves. But
you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah, relationships are kind of interesting because they have this maybe unconscious maybe understanding of karma and how that works in relationships, but they don't sometimes really voice it out, but they do. I can tell they are aware of it because they do talk. I know a few that actually was talking about relationships, and he was saying, you know, he saw this person cheat on their partner and but he was conflicted with, he didn't know how to tell he didn't know if he should tell the other person because that's not really his friend, and the person that was cheating was his friend, and I was like, oh, dude, like, you know, and then he's an ace of spades and that 7 of hearts. It's like, and the 6 of hearts is like interesting. I could see why he would be conflicted with wanting to be, you know, wanting to tell the truth and having, you know, his integrity come to question, and how that plays in his friendships. But yeah, relationships are also important to them. They want that kind of commitment, but it's like hard for them to connect emotionally
Yes.
to the partners because of the expectations.
Yes.
So it's that 7 of hearts is really teaching them, you know, to maybe detached or really work on their expectations.
And remember, they transform into a 2. So it is about the relationships. One, having a relationship with self, right? And having a full autonomy, having full understanding of who you are, and then being able to, you know, operate is they're very like, this is me, you know, they see it their own way. Can't tell them anything. But when they're in a relationship, it is just a reflection back. I think they I don't know, it's something, it's better for them almost, because they have this mirror, right? And they can see themselves. With her, you know, she, you know, very much my way, the highway. And I've had to, because I tend to be very like, you know, I guess controlling would be a good word, but it's more it's very protective. It's a protective type of way of controlling. But I've had to really let her, you know, experience things. I can't save her, you know, that Jack of Hearts, wanting to save her from having to experience disappointment or heartache or, you know, loss. When I realized like she needs that, because and I remember there's one thing she said to me one day in the car that I was like, what the fuck? She said, Mom, I have funerals in my head for people.
Oh, what?
Wow.
She's like,
people.
that's how I dead them to, you know what I mean? Like they're done. If they've done something, and she's very protective of people that she loves. Like when her best friend, you know, when her and that relationship, like my daughter wanted to fight the girl. I'm like, yo, it's not even your relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so they have this tendency of wanting to save and help, and especially the underdog or someone, Jack of Hearts.
Yeah.
Anyone that seems to be a victim, here they come, dun dun dun, dun, you know.
But it also rules psychology, right? That ace of spades. So for her to have that kind of you know, image in her mind to kind of find closure in ending a relationship and trying to move on, that's very interesting. That she does that she's aware of it and she can mentally move on. That makes sense. Wow, that's cool.
I looked at her and I was like, wow. I said, the ace of spades, Jesus, that the death. So
you know, I wonder if it's like that most special thing, right? Because if I'm saving you, then like I'm the person who gets to be special to you. Because I had a whole skit one night at the bar about thinking I was most special girl and how crazy I was, like thinking I had to be most special, because my dad always made me so special. So I thought I was special, you know? And like, it became so clear to me that there's a desire to be like coveted in a spot, you know. I think even going for the shy guys and things like that, I think it's subconscious, because I'm like, I don't really need to be shy. I don't need to be in that. But I think there was a grooming of it almost with my dad. I kind of thought that was the way it was. And I was like, well, where's mine? Where do I get to be that? And for sure with that ace of diamonds, it was so like that. And the 9 of clubs that really cracked me open in 2018, there was a way that, I mean, he was a drinker and he's not anymore, you know, so it was helpful. But there was a way that helping that person set you up to be somebody, you know. And then I was, you know, fell down the ladder and I was like, oh, what? You know, and I laughed at me this time because I'm older and wiser. But I was like, boy, I wonder what that is. Like, where does that come from? And then he said something so smart, the 9 of clubs. He's like, yo, man, he says, you were the chosen person. Like, why are you even thinking it wasn't? It was perfect. You were chosen for that moment in that time. And that's all there is. And now you're in this moment in this time. So like, why are you even thinking about stuff like that? And I was like, well, that's very helpful. Why do I think about stuff like that? But I'm always tracking how we use our energy. And it does seem that Ace wants to be that special one, because that's what makes him feel good, right? To be that one who helped, or that one who's the rock star, or I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
yeah, I mean, Me. No, I'm just kidding.
I think self assurance
Mm-hmm.
leads one away from doubt. I was reading something about the Three of Diamonds. I was saying that you have to let them make their own decisions, and making sure that, and I think being comfortable with making your own decisions. And I think the threes can get worried about the future and all of those things as well. So I was saying just sitting in that Neptune position, I think even for the Ace of Spades, not being fearful about the relationships and the people that they associated to. And like you said, they may have to have a death or funeral because even the seven dealing with loyalty and all those things, right? So, what is the threes for? My first thing is like, where's the threes dealing with the aces as well? And I think that's part of their plight is to be fortified as far as what they believe in and who they are, so they don't have any doubt or fear, and so there can be a lot of clarity that comes through.
Well, I'm transforming into Three of Diamonds, so I'm listening constantly. Every time anybody talks about the Three of Diamonds, I'm like, I don't know what that means, and I'm transforming, but I better listen to what they're saying.
Well, I have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. I have the 2 threes and Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter.
Meaning like that string or that line of cards is going to help inform how I use my cards? Like, is it kind of like the hand I'm being dealt when I'm being transformed into something?
I think for me, I think looking at the transformation card, you kind of see it sprinkled in and it gets stronger throughout the year. And I say that because I had a 7 of spades. I was transforming into a 7 of spades one year, and that particular card was just like calling me. Like I moved to the same area they were in, so it's like I was picking up and seeing it from afar and for a distance for the things that I was learning and changing into and maybe grasping, throughout the year, my overall lesson. So I was just speaking about the transformation card and how it affects you yesterday. Someone was like, "Yeah, I can't have bad blood. It's like a mirror for me." And it's like I had to take the honest truth and for what it was, because it was meant to change and transform me, and kind of raise me to a higher level. So, what do y'all think?
I agree with everything you said. I think you have to take with what works for you, and sometimes taking criticism is you have to take the emotion out of it and see what applies. How it applies to you and how you can best see yourself to maybe work on an issue that you weren't really aware of. So yeah, the aces are interesting because they are that energy of taking initiative, and it can be kind of annoying because they just see themselves. But that ace of diamonds is I've seen both where they can be about themselves, but also about really this kind of philosophical way about connecting to people. Very not preachy, but kind of just having this Jupiterian approach on life, that we're all in this together, that our situations that are difficult is all it's all subjective and it's all relative, that we're all equal.
Yeah, well, part of being most special girl is meant that you could talk shit about other people too. Remember, I had to live through all the parts to learn the lesson. But so when I would be doing that, his name was Selmer, and someone would be like, "Yo, you don't think people feel that when you talk about them like that?" And I was just like, "What?" Like, I was just like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm saying something funny and making fun of someone else so that you think I'm funny and you like me, And he'd just be like, "Yeah, well, you're crazy because you're making that other person feel bad because they can feel that." I said, "They didn't hear me," because it's not a hearing, Madeline. It's a feeling, like it's a vibration. So he's really the beginning of helping me recognize how powerful what we say to other people and about other people was. And even when I would be worried about him and think about him, he's like, "I feel that when you do that. So think positive thoughts or get the hell out of here. Like, I don't need that stuff."
Yeah,
So
I think
a lot of that.
Yeah, I think it also the aces kind of remind me of Aries, that Martian energy.
When I'm
So I
done
think
using
if
it,
you have kind of
I'm using it. I have it right here.
any kind of Mars placements, or I think that can kind of trigger these kinds of not power struggles, but kind of that kind of energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah, it
but
could be. Yeah.
You said which position? You said Mars can channel what type of energy? I'm sorry.
yeah, because the aces are kind of that energy of taking initiative, taking action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also applies to like Aries, Mars and Aries, taking action. So there is that kind of maybe a battle of the wills, yeah, the battle of maybe ego and power struggles, yeah. So there could be that as well. Initially, when you first meet somebody, but then when you kind of get to know them, you could see, oh, this could be somebody that I could, align myself with and work with. So it's just
Yeah.
that energy of creating and taking action.
Yeah. And I mean, it was, yeah, totally. And being able to realize when you do buck or bite, you're saying no to you, not to them. You know what I mean? Like you're saying no to love, you're saying no to safety because it feels so vulnerable to find out what happens next when you're not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that's my whole thing for today. It's both feet in, both feet in all the way. And so I'm going to bow out because I'm going to go get my stuff ready. I was so happy to be sitting with you while I finished packing my basket. So you guys want to see my corny basket? Not that it's surprising I'd be like a Mary Poppins,
That's nice.
like the prayer stuff and her things. Everything's in rainbows, and I got a whole hummingbird thing going on.
That's dope.
So
Let me. You made that or?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. I didn't make that.
Okay.
There's other things I've made, but not. I don't play with leather like that. I think it's very cool, and I think it's amazing. But no, I have a lot of friends that do really magical things. A lot of artists. So my gig is sweet. When I walk around, people are like, "What?" I'm like, "It just came. I don't know. I just wear it."
What's the symbol? What was the symbol on the front of it?
It's a hummingbird. My medicine is whale medicine.
Bring it over a little bit more.
That's pretty.
That is so nice. I love the coloration.
Like your prayer pipe, like so you have your prayer pipe in here, and the
Wow.
chupa is a stem, which is the masculine, and the obsidian pipe, which is the feminine. And then you put them together and you pray. O Mateo is the prayer for the balance between the masculine and feminine. And for so long, I kept thinking it was outside of me. I was praying for it. And boy, this time, both feet in, it's my harmony I want to have this time. Forget everybody else. We'll see what happens. I want mine. So, but this is how you keep your prayer pipe. And there was something else. So the whale medicine, I'm gonna go this way. The whale medicine is the same as the hummingbird medicine. It's the same vibration. So I've always been whale medicine forever. And then I found out that the hummingbird and the whale have the same vibration of that joy and that heart space. So whale and hummingbird medicine is my medicine.
So cool. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, read about them. Yeah, I'm not making it up.
That's good.
I know. Every time, I feel like when you're in these sciences, people feel like you're making it up. But
No. I mean, like I was surprised too. I mean, I've always the whale sounds forever. Love the whales. Built like one and stuff, like all about it. But the hummingbird and the joy in the heart, and that was the name that was offered to me when I finished the danza. But everybody gives me names, but I'm gonna pick the name Groisha, because that's the name that came through and it feels like me. But maybe I'm rebranding. Maybe I won't be Groisha. No, I'm Groisha. So who knows? But I'm just happy to work together better. And this is going better than I could dream. And I love how Lewis is coming in the room and the keys and the cards. Like, we really just have to keep speaking it into life, guys. Like, just where do we go to help things grow? And how do we put both feet in and treat each other respectfully? Everything else is going to come.
Absolutely, I agree.
No, yeah, it's definitely we're starting a club here, so the Cardology club, in real life. So I definitely appreciate, like you said, everyone's input. and the information, it definitely brings things full circle. And same from different perspectives, everyone has different insights and experiences. So it's always great to see it come full circle. Like the Nine Clubs, universal knowledge. So everything comes into completion.
Mhm.
Yeah, was there anything else that you all wanted to speak about as well around the Nine Clubs? Or I know we kind of been everywhere, but like I said, it is universal knowledge, right? So we're gonna blame it on that.
Well, I know in the last episode you talked about the different things that everybody does. And so this Zoom will happen at least once a week. And I'm loving that we're staying on the week. So I think it's a good way to go. And I think we did stay in the Nine of Clubs today, but it did go where it goes. And we're welcome, Adam. And there's others that come to Clubhouse with us too. So on Tuesday nights, we're in Clubhouse. And on Thursdays at some point, or maybe another day, we'll see what comes true. We're here. And the stuff that I'm doing is just growing more like myself so I can find out what I do better than anything else. And so when I really know that for sure, everyone else will know. But I do a lot of fun stuff and I have websites that can tell you about it. But mostly I'm just looking to go where I go to help things grow, because that's what else would grow we should do.
No, yes. So, yeah. So I guess for me, you can check me out on Instagram. Implementing these particular skills into the other things that I have going on in life has really changed my perspective. And even, I think, who mentioned there was Deborah was saying she was trying to get there's a difference between like the traditional and like the new age like practice of medicine. But I love like when people of spiritual value goes into like the new age or like what we wouldn't call like traditional or natural forms of medicine or psychology, because I think we add a little depth, a little bit more like more understanding. It makes it more like metaphysical. You get this, I wouldn't say more empathy, but a little bit more like curiosity and finding different methods to help and heal people. So you all have definitely added to my depth of knowledge and me trying to push it towards the like more going to like traditional fields of psychology and what they have going now. So no, I definitely appreciate it. I haven't been doing readings lately, so I've been like kind of pushing that back to July, and I want to like add the new things that I've been learning from you all to my readings. So definitely hit up Adam and Gina for the readings. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'm actually going to send one of the Ace of Diamonds that came. I was thinking to ask you, Adam, to see him, because I think he's local here in New Jersey. And I think the way you read and look at things would be really helpful to this Eight of Diamonds. He's a 37-year-old Ace of Diamonds.
Yeah. Send him my way.
I'm going to. So is it just your number or is there a link or something? I think I remember one time seeing a link. I think I did see something.
I have a website, adamhoppy.com, HAPI.com, adamhoppy.com. So
like Hopi?
Yeah, Hopi, but it's Hoppy. It's after the water bear in Egypt. So
yeah, so I think I felt that when he was talking to me, I was like, I'm gonna click this guy to Adam. So I'm gonna do that. I'll set that up when I get back from the danza. All right. So thanks, guys. Yeah, come anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, every Thursday we'll be here, and make sure y'all check out
later. Do you want to do it later, Rashad? I don't know if you
can. No, this time is fine. No, this time is perfect. I just got up late today. I just went to bed. My phone died in the middle of the night, and it's funny, like before I went to sleep, I was looking at it, and I was reading this Fortunes and Dreams and Practical Magic or something like that book, and I just like fell asleep. I seen it on like 2%. I was like, let me get the charger, but then next thing I know, I was waking up and it was dead. So but
I wanted to say something about something I heard the other day. I went into a room on Clubhouse about apostles and prophets, and they kept rebuting like witchcraft and talking about how they have to stay together and be careful of witchcraft. And it took everything. I was just too busy to do it. I wanted to ask them what they meant witchcraft. Like, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so curious to know what this concept is that people are fighting against. So I don't mean to stir it up, but I would like to get into that because I know Lewis is laying down some tracks, and I know he's using words of intention in very powerful ways. And Deborah's doing like his assistance in the magic of illusion. And I don't mind it because it's all for good purposes. So I'm open to it. But when these apostles and prophets, it was in one of the rooms in Clubhouse saying, you know, be careful of the witches and the pagan stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Nonsense.
Like, just straight up, I'm even mad at you. Like, what is witchcraft? Tell me. I shouldn't pray into my water? Is that the witchcraft?
It could be some people who are fearful. I know the Nana Clubs, I was reading it. It's funny. I had an experience. I was on the Nana Clubs day, or right before it came Nana Clubs day. I did a reading on through Clubhouse, and I went back to like really read, because I remember it was something around like the public seances running Nana Clubs, and I was like, you shouldn't have public seances or ask to see someone's like to talk to someone's like ancestors and those things, but you do have to ask and get permission as well from that Nana Club's energy. So I don't know. It could be. I'm not saying.
I'm just curious. I'm just, you know, I had my own strong response based on whatever programming I wear, but I just was like, gosh, that's such another. It was a suggestion of division, and whenever I hear that, I'm like, what are you afraid of? What is that to you? Like, not even mad. Just like, can you help me understand? And you know, I would just be like, tell me what's witchcraft.
But I was just saying that there could be something, one of those people's personal card that can be throwing the energy into the room. You know, some people have just, you know, like you said, the secrecy, the Ace of Spades. Some people are like fearful of those
like
things.
the Masonic Temple stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that Ace of Spades kind of because it's like Pluto, it's like going into the 8th house. And unless you have really a solid sense of who you are, you know, you can get paranoid in that area. So, and it also reminds me of like the perigee or the apogee of the moon, when it's like a point of the furthest point from Earth where the moon orbits. And generally, if there's like a personal planet or the moon is placed there, these people can have these kind of paranoid visions and feel like they can connect to another dimension, but really they're just not really making any sense. So I can see how that paranoia, you know, I feel like it's kind of connected with the Ace of Spades, you know, that Pluto energy. So, but it's all, when I hear people spew that, I know it's just coming out of ignorance. But there is some kind of, there is a little truth to it. You do have to be more mindful about the energies also.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to talk about. I think we should start going there a little bit, because I think that's going to be one of the things that's like, who's working for who? I just think it's an interesting thing to consider, what the shared values are for all of us that are considering working together in energetic ways.
Yeah. And also it's their projections too. You have to be aware that that's their projections and what they're experiencing, you know? So it's their own subjective experience of whatever it is that they're dealing with. It's not, you know, necessarily truth. That's up to you to really discern that. Yeah. So.
Sure.
But yeah, I have to run as well. The Nana Clubs is also, I think, goes into ritualistic magic and those things. The Ace of Diamonds is definitely magical. So the concept of magic, I guess we can go into that discussion next week, maybe a little bit as well, which is a 10 of Clubs week next week. Yeah. So
we're going to the Bible. We're going to the Bible next week.
Oh my gosh, my dad is the Bible thumper.
Invite him in. Let's hear about it. I want to ask him what magic is.
And not to say that just I think the concept of spirituality, when they grasp a hold of it, and because they're such like knowledgeable people, they like naturally teach people. Like it's a natural thing. Even
We could be
non-clubs
preachy.
sometimes as well.
Definitely preaching for sure. So
Thank you, Preacher Adam. Thank you, Preacher Adam, for coming in. We appreciate it.
So we could definitely dive into that next week. But I have to run. And just to answer Nick's question, the King clubs transform into the Three of Hearts. Correct? Is that correct? King clubs transform into the Three of Hearts. He was talking about King of Clubs and sexuality, and dealing with transgenders. I think. What was the? No, I don't want to get his question wrong. Why does the King of Clubs have a lot to do with gay trans people? So maybe we can get into that question next week.
Not just the Three of Hearts, though, too. I think that the Queen of Hearts and Pluto plays a big part in that. Mm-hmm.
That's what. Oh yeah, definitely.
That makes sense.
Because it's all
Uranus,
about it's pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah.
It's pleasure, and however that shows up, and experimenting. And so is the Three of Hearts. It transforms into a card that likes to experiment. So it has a lot of those qualities that could easily, branch out into different directions. Mm-hmm. Try new things sexually, especially because it's Pluto and it's Queen of Hearts, which is one of the most. It's one of the most sexual cards there. They can, go real, get deep into it.
No pun intended.
No, there was time. No, I'm just kidding.
Pluto,
so on that
note, you just made me think of that.
Sexual cards. They're sexual cards, man.
That just became deep.
This one wants her iPad back. Say hi.
All right, we're gonna let you get your iPad. We're sorry.
Nick, enjoy listening. Enjoy Nick listening about the ace in here. It might be
the ace.
Through. Hello, other.
Oh.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. See you soon.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.